Welcome back to the Greenhorn Photo Taker. I don't have time for a proper introduction. It snowed out, but it's getting warm and getting windy, and I have a small window to take a picture of my favorite place on earth, the Delaware Water Gap with Mount Mincy in the snow. Woohoo!
Well, that was the plan anyway. Two things worked against me. First, the scene wasn't quite as lovely as I was expecting, as the snow accumulations were about half of what I hoped for. And two, as you will see, the sun peeked out from above Mount Tammany, ruining any chance at a decent photo. I was 15 minutes too late. So, I headed to my main destination of Dunnfield Creek to see what I could capture. And let me pause here and make note that I lent my spare GoPro batteries to a friend who was ascending up to the Everest Base Camp in the Himalayas. I can't wait to see the footage, but it did put me in a position where a voiceover made more sense to save on my own battery power. Dunnfield Creek Trail was absolutely gorgeous, even with only an inch or two of snow. My ultimate goal was the footbridge about a mile into the woods, but the walk along the trail next to the creek proved to be the best part about the morning. Snow was clinging to every branch, and the sound of Dunnfield Creek itself was mesmerizing. Before long, I found a simple cascade I wanted to try and capture. And I think I did a pretty good job. I liked the motion of the water in my first attempt, but my second has a much better composition, with brighter colors of rocks in the foreground. It was 40 minutes well spent, even if I missed out on a true gem. Further up the trail, the scene continued to impress. I am not sure if it was the lack of snow in New Jersey this year, or if the forest really was that beautiful, but I found it hard to concentrate on photography, and I just wanted to take the scene in.
Holy shit. Oh.
Eventually, I made it to the footbridge and the cascade I had hoped to photograph, but 2 cross logs dampened my spirits at a flawless composition. Even worse, the sun was coming out and I had passed the point I could take a long exposure capturing the full scene. I tried to zoom in and focus only on the falls themselves, but without the context of the background and the entire scene, these photos seemed off to me. Instead, I focused on some B-roll and tried to capture the feel of Worthington State Forest instead. By now, the wind was really picking up, but the day seemed too early to call it quits. With the sun fully up, I first headed back to the Mount Tammany view, but this was a mistake. Winds gusting to 35 miles per hour were howling through the river corridor and made landscape photography a long shot at best. Figuring that upriver might be a bit less windy, I drove 5 miles to the Karamac Trail to try the river in another location. Deer greeted me along the way, and there was considerably more snow to walk through, which made, of course, the walk that much more enjoyable. Here the river was only a bit less choppy, and the wind had done its damage along both shorelines. The snow had been blown off just about every tree branch, and the fleeting winter wonderland scenes were now squarely in the past. The river was quite full and flowing about as quick as I have ever seen it here, but at a glance I knew there was no photography in my future this day. It was now above freezing, but the gusty winds were penetrating my light coat, and somewhere along the way I lost a glove. At one point I thought I lost my phone. I ended up leaving it in the car by accident, so the glove seemed like a fair trade-off for some greenhorn stupidity. But I knew the day was done, and by the time I left the area, just about all the snow was gone. Thanks for watching, and why don't you get out and explore?